next morning, took the car in for its inspection, it passed, went to work, came out 8 hours later, and the steering was, you're driving a double-decker London bus type steering. So at that point, it's sort of like, yeah, something broke. And so this was, I haven't driven the car for, getting on for 6 months. It's just been sat in the garage. Well, not quite. I mean, we moved in February, so the car's been parked up since February in the garage, and we've just been using the truck. So, yeah. Power steering wasn't working properly. I don't know if it was, the power steering, the fluid settled or whatever, and it just needed to get back around into the system, or whether it's running low. But anyway, that's gone in for a checkup to get fixed. And the mechanic sort of said, "Oh, so when do you want it back?" So I said, "Well, we're not in any rush, because frankly we really don't need 2 cars, but we do have them." But I said, "I'll keep it till Monday. Let's make sure that it's fixed, because sometimes in situations like that, it's just a case of it needs, if you leave it sitting for a while, it will, it'll start playing up again." Okay, let's turn this way. I really should get crossplay, but whatever. No, that wasn't exactly what I wanted. I wanted to lower that. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to take this along the side here, and then put a worker on it. There we go. We need to find the class. Need to find the class. Where's the class? There. Yeah. I mean, having driven a lot of vehicles, I must admit, normally I drive cars. Normally, I pass my test with or in a stick shift, because in the UK, if you take your test in an automatic, your license only endorses you to drive automatic vehicles. You cannot drive a stick. And that's a problem, since probably 95% of the vehicles on the roads in England all have stick shifts. So it seriously limits the vehicles you can drive over there. And at the time, we're talking a fair few years ago, a stick shift was more efficient than an automatic. Automatics were horrible for mileage. My grandfather drove an automatic because he had leg problems, and just couldn't drive a stick. His left leg, it was his left leg. Operating the clutch wasn't something he could do comfortably. So he drove an automatic, but it's probably the only automatic car I've been in the UK. So my preference is stick shift vehicles. And why am I talking about that? The other advantage with stick shift vehicles, it's very difficult to text and drive when you're shifting gear. But I mean, that was it. Everything was a car. Stick shift car was what I drove in England. I came to America. Obviously, our rental vehicles were all automatic, which okay, fair enough. And I had to take a driving test here, so I did that, and I did that in Mercury Mountaineer, which is the big, Ford Explorer SUV, and it's the first time I've driven a vehicle that big. And pretty much a week of experience in that vehicle, I'm taking a driving test. But I passed the driving test, so no problems there. I did clip the curb a couple of times, but it was just, I'm not used to this size of vehicle. And I think the examiner was feeling nice that day. But since then, I think, a minivan is good if you've got lots of kids, or if there's the potential you'll have lots of kids. We can only fit 3 kids in the back of our SUV, and only 2 of them are in child seats. Well, one's in a full child seat, one is in a booster. But we can't fit more children in the back of the car or in the back of the truck. So anytime that happens, we have more. We have to go out in the car and the truck. Okay. Oh, we need money. Okay, I'm gonna borrow some money. I'll borrow 35. Cash points around the corner. So, Cedars, that one. And we're gonna buy the Kverneland 12 metre. No options. And we're now poor. And we'll get back into this. The first car I drove over here, after I'd passed my test, and we decided we need to stop renting cars and actually lease some. Whoops. My first car over here was a Subaru Impreza RS, and 2000, so it was the 2.5 4-cylinder engine rather than the 2-litre turbo, which came out a couple of years later. But it was in the body, it was in the older body style, which personally I preferred. And I had some fun driving that around. The only problem is California, you spend a lot of time doing less than 15 miles an hour in stop-start traffic because their freeways are parking lots. But when I got out into the countryside in it, that was a fun car to drive. And then when we got rid of that, Mrs. Osa didn't like that because it had very hard suspension. I went into the Audi dealer, and they were completely, I don't know why they had a dealership, because their staff were pretty much a case of, why are you here? Why would you want to buy a car? It's just sort of, if you don't have the time for your customers, I don't have the time to buy a car from you. I ended up down at the Saab dealer, and they were all very nice and very welcoming, and you're interested in a car? Yeah, we can sell you one. What do you, and ended up getting the 9.3. And I have had a series of about 4 of them. And one of the things I like about the 9.3 is it has, I honestly don't know what the Swedes call it, but the Germans developed the Tiptronic gear shift, which is basically a clutchless manual. So you can stick the car in drive if you want, or you can shift it across to manual and then basically operate it like a motorcycle gearbox. And I like that. So I do spend a lot of my time driving it in manual mode rather than automatic mode. Mrs. Osa drives it in automatic mode. No turn signals at the back. Oh yeah. So I'm going to go run up the hill and get some seed and plant some grass, I guess. Axian watts. Okay, he is moving. It looked for a minute there like he wasn't going anywhere, but he's kind of figuring things out. Okay, so we might have to tidy this up when he's done, but that's fine. So yeah, that's kind of my experience of driving, but I do like the 9.3, but it will obviously be the last one I ever have because they don't make them anymore. Although I think there's a Swedish company that has bought the Saab name. Where am I going? Oh, seriously. And are producing Saab cars, but I think they're producing electric cars. Either way, I'm not sure we're going to get them here in the US. But also I kind of figure that the car I have is probably going to last me until we both die, because I don't drive that much anymore. Truck might need replacing because we do drive that more frequently, but still it's not I think, how am I going to do this because the seed's all behind the fend. I probably only need one pallet of seed, so that's what we'll do. There we go. Oh my goodness. I tell you, these sheep are producing wool like crazy. Probably need to move them very, very soon. Might do that once we're finished loading the cedar. Okay, that pallet on the left is partially used, so we'll use that first. 1400. I'm gonna guess might need more than that, but since we've got a field at the top, a field at the bottom, I think what we may be able to get away with is just loading this up with this lot. Let's back up a little. I think you're probably supposed to unwrap it, but oh, sorry, you're supposed to unfold the cedar to do this, but that might be close enough that we can load the seed bay. Okay, so that's that done. And And then while the fence running, I think we'll move 2 of those pallets into the shed so we don't get disturbed, because like I said, they're producing wool at an amazing rate. I think I was stacking these now. Yep. Ooh. Getting a little bit front heavy again. Oh, don't do that. Oh. Let's try that again. I am considering the farm getting another medium front loader tractor. Just gives us a little bit more options on what we can do with what. Really messed that approach up. Let's try this again. I might consider the Fence 600. That'll go up to 200 horsepower. What am I doing? I want wool pallets, not seed. But that might be better balanced because it's an in-game rather than a mod tractor. Who knows? But, I'm finding that it doesn't appear that wheel weights work for front loader operations. Now, they do work for small, equipment on fields where you're running at the very edge of your tractor's horsepower limits. And you also benefit from front weights and wide tyres or doubles if you can get away with it. All right. That's the wall pallet done. I think we'll just squeeze through that side. Not going to make it through the other side though. Too oblique an angle. Let's try that. Bingo. Okay, so that's wall movements dealt with for now. Don't think that's going to fit around there, no. Doesn't have a brilliant turn radius on this one. But I really bought it for the forestry, not for general farm work. However, it's faster than the little thing here, so it does work as a trip to the store tractor too. Okay, that's done. Put the lid on. Let's head up to the top field again. So that's doesn't look like a lot of seed when your capacity is 6,000 litres, but it actually is. it doesn't look like a lot of seed as a percentage of your 6,000 litre maximum. Alright, let's get this thing set up. Boop. I don't think I've seen anybody using this particular seeder on any playthroughs yet. That didn't turn on, that's why. Alright. I mean, obviously I've seen a lot of people using both of the Kverneland planters. The big one that doesn't carry fertilizer and then the smaller one that does. And I've seen folks using the 6-meter seeder, which is similar to the Kuhn 4-meter seeder set, in which you have the seed tank on the front and the planter on the back, just the planter mechanism on the back. But the Kverneland 6-meter one folds, so it's not. It can fit in slightly tighter spaces, I think. This one's probably going to be a bit of a challenge because while it does fold, it folds. It has length, which makes turning from a narrow street or a narrow lane into a field kind of tricky. But we don't have any fields that have that issue. I think the only field we have with that kind of issue would be the one at the top over there somewhere, which has our winter cereal crop in. Can't remember whether I put oats in or what. But this is good working width. How are we doing? Oh, I see what. So the AGCO is just listed as a 1038. It's not. It doesn't. I was missing the name of the tractor. That was what confused me when we drove past earlier. Was it looked like it was stationary, and I could on the readout on the top left of the screen. It just says 1038. What does that mean? In a way, I like the older Farm Sim 17 mod that gave you the vehicle information, because it also told you what job the tractor was doing. So you would say, you would get speed, who was driving it, so helper, tractor name, and then cultivating or ploughing or whatever. So you could see which of your tractors were doing what. And if you're playing a playthrough like this, where you have a number of different tractors, that may not be an issue. But if you're running a farm with 2 or 3 of the same model of tractor, yeah, the John Deere 6M has finished ploughing. Okay, which one was that? Yeah, or the 6M has finished isn't particularly useful if you've currently got a 6M that's ploughing another one that's cultivating, and another one that's planting. Yeah, one of them's finished. I'm going to have to tab through all of them to find which one, because I don't pay attention to helpers. Which one's in what vehicle. Although for right now, we're only using one helper anyway, so it's not a problem. But it's a lot easier to know, oh, the helper in the class Lexion has finished his job, or Axion has finished his job. Okay, that's fine. Because my other big tractor's an AGCO 1038. So we don't get confused. We are jumping through the seed quite quickly though. Should be using, or should be thinking about using GPS for this, but I'm not. I don't think. Well, we do have ridge markers, and I don't remember how they work, so there we go. Ridge marker 9. So you put that down, you lower that, and we try and drive a straight line down the field. Yeah, that's always fun and easy. So I do find in general, once your equipment reaches this size, a ridge marker does work quite well in Farm Sim. The problem with the smaller 3 meter seeders with ridge markers is it's very hard to tell. Also be aware that the ridge marker does rip up crop. So you don't want, if you've planted the headland, you don't want the ridgeland or the ridge marker driving down the headland, because that's just bad. I am considering, now we do have another event at church this week, so I will not be streaming any time this week, because that's a sort of 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock deal. But after this coming week, there is a possibility I may be doing a lot more streaming. Now, what I'm considering is possibly, it's still up in the air, but maybe a few days a week I'm going to have a short Farm Sim stream, about an hour-ish long, immediately after I've finished working. And that will be played at time 10 speed. So 1 day equals 1 hour-ish. During summer months it's longer, but it would mean that the game, we're progressing the farm quickly. And then I'll have lunch, and then after lunch I may stream again later in the day. But we'll see how that all works out. So, now that we can get in the tractor, we can lower that. And we just line up that little silver point on the front of the tractor with the ridge and go. And then once we're about there, we unfold the other ridge marker, jump in the tractor and just follow the line. And that's how ridge markers work. And so without having to look at it, the left side of the seeder should be following our previous row, the edge of the previous row. I'm actually a little to the left of where it is, and it's not A precise line. Obviously in real life that would be a precise line that you can follow, but the way Farm Sim works, there's a little bit of meh going on. Anyway, so we get to the end and we need to lift that ridge marker so that we don't damage any more crops, and lift the seeder. And we'll back up very slightly so I can make the turn. So you line that up there again. I could have run the ridge a little bit further, but that's fine. We'll drop that. We will